Okay, welcome everyone to our acu-connect tips and tricks webinar. We're very excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us this month. And I'm excited to have Chris Joko and Dennis Easter talk to you all about these wonderful tips and tricks and what's going on in the Acumatica space with the new release. So it's going to be very exciting. Next slide, please. Can everyone hear me? First of all, someone's saying they can't hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. Paul, I'm not sure, maybe come back in, come back out and see what happens. Okay, so thank you everyone and thank you of course to our community sponsors, because without them we couldn't host these wonderful educational webinars and provide all this educational information to you on a monthly basis. So we always like to thank our community sponsors. Oh, good, Paul, thanks. Keep going. So this is just all of our sponsors. We just like to give a shout out to them before we get started. Our acu-connect mission, in case you don't know, is right here, as you can see on the slide. So we are here to help you through education. That is our main goal, our main focus. And as you can tell from today's webinar, we're all about educating and informing you on bringing in our subject matter experts in this wonderful Acumatica community and bringing community members together. That can be customers, that can be partners, and that can be ISVs. So we really like to make it a collaborative effort and work with each other, network with each other, and provide shared resources. So we want to share that mission with you just in case you weren't aware. And there has been a little bit of a change in our board of directors, in case you were not aware. We do have Mike Natali, who is the treasurer now. So that's our newest board member. And just wanted to give a shout out to him. Thank you, Mike, for joining us and helping us out on the board. Because again, without all of these wonderful people, we couldn't do what we do today to make this a successful community as well. So thank you. So how can you get more involved? Obviously, this is a nonprofit. Obviously, we are all volunteering our time. So we're always looking for people to help, whether it's present an educational webinar, a session at our conference, of course, attend webinars and support those that are presenting, and as these becoming sponsors. So there's really a plethora of ways you can be part of this. And of course, join a committee. We do have lots of committees. So if you are interested, let me know in the chat. Say, hey, I want, raise your hand and we'll send you information on the committees. But we were always looking for help, and we're always looking for people to get more involved. So yes, please join us. And with that, we'd love to thank our sponsor of this webinar today, which is LeaseQuery. So I'm going to let Jason give a few minutes to talk about what they do. So welcome, LeaseQuery, and thank you for sponsoring.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, so we wanted to introduce everyone to LeaseQuery, and LeaseQuery is actually a twofold offering today. So LeaseQuery in our historic state has offered a SaaS technology that helps businesses comply with all of the new lease accounting standards. ASC 842 is the most common one that is complied with by both public and private companies in the US. But you can see down towards the bottom left of the slide a few of the other standards that we encompass, which include state and local governments, federal governments, as well as international organizations. Now, LeaseQuery also now offers a second solution called StackShine. StackShine helps businesses manage all of their SaaS applications, both trying to help manage the costs as well as the usage of those tools, but also helping from a governance perspective, making sure that all the tools that a businesses use are SOC 2 compliant, making sure you have appropriate ownership internally over each tool, and making sure that the data that actually feeds into these tools is known, and avoiding scenarios where you might be using tools, or people at the company might be using tools that leadership might be unaware of. But in general, LeaseQuery has today over 7,000 total organizations using one of these two tools or both. We also partner with a lot of ERPs such as Acumatica, as well as a number of others. And we also partner with CPA firms as well as consulting firms. You can see we have historically great ratings within G2, as well as just our traditional average rating of 4.8 out of 5. But ultimately, LeaseQuery's approach here is to help businesses with the assets that they spend the most money on outside of human resources. So leases being one of them, software subscriptions being another. Down the road, there could be more of these types of assets we think about, but ultimately businesses want one central place to manage all of these assets, make sure that they're underneath whatever compliance rules exist. And in addition to that, have better oversight into the contracts that you enter into. And I think a lot of the clients that we originally engaged with for lease accounting noted that they may have to log into various platforms to try and identify where their contracts might live. So ultimately, what LeaseQuery is trying to do is set the standard for having one platform that manages all of the assets that these businesses spend the majority of their money on. So with that, I think that covers our little brief pitch today, but we're of course happy to answer whatever questions that you guys have after the presentation today.
Thank you, Jason. All right. So here's our agenda for today. We've already pretty much done our About Us, but I'm going to now hand it over to Dennis and Chris, who'll be taking it away, showing you these amazing new ins and outs, features, tips, and tricks of the new release of Acumatica. So welcome, Dennis and Chris, and I'm going to let you both get going, and I'm going to stop sharing and hide my screen.
Hey, thanks, Amy. I am Dennis Easter. I am the, get ready for this title, Senior Director of Product Solutions at Algorithm Inc. It just means I'm the guy that figures out what you need and how we can best implement it for you. So I'm proud to be here, really happy to be part of acu-connect, a great community to get involved in, learn more about the Acumatica ecosystem. And so we'll look at the agenda here. I'm going to cover the top 2 items of the demonstration of the effortless BOM creation, new feature inside of 23R2. And then as a recovering accountant, one of the things that really caught my eye with 23R2 is Acumatica payments. I'll get into that, and then Chris will take over and talk about CRM and some of the UI updates. So with that, let's go ahead and start talking about the features. Okay, so one of the changes that's available inside of the manufacturing edition in 23R2 is you can now create a new BOM from the item master. It gives you some contextual entry as well as from the warehouse details. So you can create a warehouse or inventory location, production location specific BOMs without having to make all kinds of copies and such, but all those features are still available. So it's going to help save some navigation time when it comes to the engineering management. You know, so if we take a look back, here's a sample bill of material for some red dough. And here I've created a new item for blue dough. And if we go to the manufacturing tab, these pencils have always been there, but in previous versions, when you clicked on them, it would just simply bring up if there was no bill of material identified in that screen, it would bring up the bill of material entry screen. And so with the new features, you don't have to create the bill of material ID and then navigate to the bill of materials and create the new bill of material and make sure that you set it as the default BOM after you've created it. With 23R2, they've actually taken these pencils and automated them so that it then gives you the context of where you're working. And so you can actually then bring that information in to the bill of material entry screen from the item master. And from the warehouse details, when you click the pencil, it also brings in that warehouse specific information so that you can create the bill of materials there. So one of the things about Acumatica and their development cycle is there are some things inside the system that just seem like little changes. Okay? But these little changes can, if they each save 5 minutes and you do them 100 times in a month, then you're saving a good amount of time. Okay, and so it's just helping you become more efficient. And why being able to create the bill of material from the inventory screen may not seem like a big deal, it kind of prevents that death by 1,000 paper cuts because of it's solving that little efficiency problem. So that is creating the bill of material from contextually from the items in the item warehouse.
Today, did it just happen?
I'm sorry, I don't think you were meaning to talk to everyone, were you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, because yes, it did just happen in 23R2 last week. Okay, so now let's get on to the thing that really had me excited about 23R2. And after we talk about it, I'm sure I'm not going to be the only one. Acumatica understands cash is king. And one of the things that, especially in these economic conditions, is managing your AR collection cycle really is important. And so what they did is they powered, they created a partnership with that financial services powerhouse Fortis and really created one single solution for your payment operation. So Acumatica Payments provides, credit card merchant services. And this includes, for those of you that have counter sales, retail operations, terminals, terminal integrations, so you can swipe the card and collect it as well. Manages all the PCI compliance because you're not capturing card information, you're capturing the token, so you're not losing any of that functionality. But two of the things that really excite me about it, and that is giving you the opportunity to hire the technology to do those things that sometimes take, they're not really value add, but they take up your employees' time. And that is it. They've enabled receiving payments through the Acumatica customer portal. And they've added a new link to pay functionality that allows you to create and accept credit card and ACH payments through the link. And so merchant service is not really cool thing to demonstrate. And so I'm going to focus mine on the link to pay. We're going to take a look at here the rest of the demonstration. So they've made some changes to the sales orders and the invoice screens. And you'll see down here in the red box, we've got some additional buttons around managing the payment links. And so creating the payment links, synchronizing the payment links, allowing you to resend them and such. And so with this, the workflow would be you go ahead and create the sales order. And if you need a prepayment, then you create the payment link, and then you can send out the order and be able to accept a prepayment via the link. So no more giving credit card numbers over the phone. This is also available on the invoice form so that you can create the payment link. And then when the customer doesn't pay, you do have the option then to resend the payment link. And then syncing and closing the payment link or some administration tasks as well. But people, you don't want to have to do this one order at a time. Nobody does. And Acumatica understands that. And one of the things that if you understand the Acumatica framework is that if you have these actions on a screen, then you can add them to a process grid and automate the process. And I was speaking with one of our customers not long ago when I understood that Acumatica Payments was coming out. And they have someone that spends an hour a day using a third party, creating the payment links, and then emailing the invoices and copying the payment links into the invoice, the email, so that the customer can pay the invoice. An hour a day. Okay. And so do the math, all of you accountants out there, 1 hour a day times 250 days, 50 weeks in the year, 5 days a week. And then take that times your average employee's fully loaded rate. It's worth the investment. Hiring the technology. It's a great thing to really keep in mind. Now, you've got these payment links out there, okay? What happens then? You add them to an email template, or this is an example of an Acumatica invoice that has the Pay Now link on it, but it also has the QR code, because some people still do everything from their phone. And they scan the QR code and they can enter the payment portal and create the payment. So what does that payment portal look like? This is an example of the Acumatica Payments portal. And you'll notice here on the 2 separate invoices for USA bartending, one of them has an ACH payment method and one of them has a credit card payment method. And the beauty of this is that if you want to limit your customers to only pay you via ACH, so you're not incurring credit card fees, you can do that. If you want to allow credit card fees, it's on the roadmap. So I'm not going to commit Acumatica to delivering it, but it's on the roadmap where you can designate you want to charge a surcharge in order to cover the processing fees. And so, this is an example of where Acumatica is continuing to take and invest your subscription dollars into the product. So Acumatica Payments, great way to hire the technology in order to make your people available for those value add resources, those value add tasks. So now I think that Amy has a little announcement here based on what I see on the next slide, because she's talking about marking calendars. Amy?
Oh, I thought I put that at the end. Okay, we can talk about it and have a break. Can you see me? Okay, here we go.
Yes.
All right, so as you know, we do try to have monthly webinars. So I just wanted to keep you guys up to date on what we have is coming up. So we have one at the end of this month, Navigating Year End, with AP Best Practices and Pricing Solutions. And then in January, we always have our What to Know Before You Go regarding Acumatica Summit. So make sure you save the date for that one as well. Of course, we're going to have a happy hour in December and hopefully a couple of other webinars in between then. But just wanted to just make sure you put this all on your calendar as well. Take it back to you, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Amy.
Oh, and I did
Again,
forget to mention, sorry.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you
go
have
ahead.
any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We will get to them at the end. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Thanks, Amy. Hi, everybody. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Chris Joko. I'm the Principal Solutions Architect for DSD Business Systems. We're a Acumatica VAR out of San Diego, California. Today, what I wanted to do is just kind of show you some of the things that really excited me from the CRM and from the user interface options that have been updated in Acumatica 23 R2. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up. And so one of the first things, should be able to see my screen now. One of the most exciting things that I've seen and that I've heard from a lot of our customers, and we've done this with like custom fields in the past and those types of things, is sales territories and being able to auto set those sales territories for contacts, leads, business accounts, those types of things. And so in 23 R2, Acumatica added this feature for sales territories and giving us the ability to basically build the territories any way that we would like to. So for example, if I'm looking at this sales territory for the East, we have different territory types, whether, we're a global company that's looking at it from a country level. But if we're just US based, we can do it from a state level, or we could do a custom territory type. Either way, we're able to define these territories. And whenever you create a new lead, a new contact, or a new business account, we can actually have the system auto flag this territory so that we can associate and assign the appropriate people to manage those particular accounts. So I thought that that was very exciting to us. If we take a look at, let me see if I can get out of this thing here. Let's take a look at our lead screen. I'm going to go ahead and open that in our new tab. And if I decide I wanted to create a brand new lead, I'll come in here and I'll give it a name. We'll just use Amy for now. And we'll just say here, if I want to go ahead and put in here that she is in Florida, as we create these particular leads under our CRM information, once this lead is created, we should have the system automatically generate what territory they belong to. So in here now, it's automatically associated to our Eastern territory. And we still have options to override this territory if we wanted to, but I thought that was a nice feature that they definitely added here in 23 R2. Now, taking this another step further for all of those marketing folks that still want to get more and more power out of Acumatica CRM, something that happens a lot when we're on trade shows or we're out doing, prospecting, we're meeting new people that are interested in our products. Acumatica, we used to have to create the leads or the contacts, and then we can assign them to marketing lists so our marketing team can reach out to them via campaigns. Well, now we've kind of consolidated those steps into one thing with Acumatica. So if you're out prospecting, you're at a trade show, let's say you have a bunch of leads that you've actually collected on the trade show floor, and so here I have 2 leads that I've met at this recent trade show, Kimberly and Chase. And what I need to do is not only do I need to bring them in to my lead screen within Acumatica, but I also need to add them to my trade show leads marketing list, because I want to actively start marketing to this particular, to these leads. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to access our marketing list screen in Acumatica. And so now I have a new marketing list that I'm using, this trade show leads. And I'm going to use, under the list members, I'm going to use the load records from file. Now, what this is going to do, I'm going to go ahead and hit the load records, and I'm going to go ahead and choose my file. Just go ahead and access this here through acu-connect. And I'm going to grab that trade show leads file, and I'm going to go ahead and upload that. And when I upload this, basically all of the information that's connected to a contact or a lead, what have you, when I start to import these leads, not only am I importing them into the marketing list within Acumatica, they actually go ahead and create those leads in our lead system. So now, not having to do multiple multiple uploads, one to upload the leads or one to upload the contacts, and then go in and either dynamically add them to a marketing list or add them manually, statically through that marketing list. We could do that all through one upload. And again, if we have that sales territory that I mentioned, that information is automatically propagated as we import those leads into the system. So I think two big things from a marketing standpoint. Sometimes it's overlooked in Acumatica because we do have an integrated CRM. You know, people talk about Salesforce all the time or other CRM solutions, but as Acumatica is maturing their CRM solution, they are starting to add these different features that we look to expect out of a full-fledged CRM system. Now, another thing that I wanted to kind of point out from a CRM change in 23 R2 is the addition of adding return orders directly from a case, right? So if I'm looking in my case management, and I'll go to support, and let's say we get a new case, whether this case is imported from an incoming email or somebody is taking a call. You know, from this perspective here, I can actually build out this case and I can say, you know, needs to return defective laptop. Now, there may be an email attached to this. Hi, I purchased the laptop 2 weeks ago and it was delivered damaged, right? So now we have this particular case, right? Now with 23 R2, we can now take this case, and if I, you know, take this case here and I open it, now I need to know what am I going to actually do with this. And oops, let me go ahead and update that. But now that I have this case, what I need to do is I need to process a return for it. And so now with our actions menu, if I want to actually, you know, favorite this action from a customer service standpoint, I can actually create a return order. Now I can default the type of return order that I want in our preferences, but in my case, I'm just going to use the RR, which is a return with replacement. And when I create this return order, it'll automatically start the process of creating a return order within the sales orders module. The description from the case is automatically going to propagate here. I can start to add the material. If I need to look up the original invoice, I can do so, but I can also just start bringing in the item here. And then I'm just going to say that they're returning 1 unit of this. So now when I go ahead and save this return order with replacement, one of the things that we want to always kind of pay attention to here is the relations, because I can see what case that came from, and vice versa. If I am looking at the particular case, I can actually go to the relations tab on the case and see what derived from that particular case. So if I created a return order, we have that kind of two-way notion between the return order that's associated to the case and the case that's associated to the return order. So again, we have some great options there. So let me go back to my sales order. Now, all I need to do is process my return order. So once that product is received back into our warehouse, we'll just go ahead and create that receipt for this warehouse, for this return order, and we'll go through the rest of that process, just like you would process any particular return order. So I think that's a very big addition. I know it's just a small action, kind of like what Dennis was mentioning. It's these small things that you may not seem like such a big item, but helping that efficiency and being able to help, you know, with different teams in your organization to kind of work together and be able to, you know, efficiently process directly within Acumatica is definitely helpful. All right. So a couple of more things from me that really stood out from an Acumatica standpoint are some of the user interface changes that they've made, again, to really help with the efficiency and just knowing where you're at within Acumatica. And so one of the big things here, throughout the screens you're going to see, and I'm just going to open up an existing opportunity here from CRM, is they've expanded some of the totals that you're actually going to see within your particular opportunity, maybe even on your sales orders. We're adding a lot of different functionality here. So if I go into this opportunity number 398, we're going to focus here on some of the things that they've added to Acumatica. On the opportunity level, adding these detail totals with line discounts and document discounts to get us a total, really being able to expand, what we see in that particular area. Acumatica has done this strategically within a lot of the different screens. So if I end up going into maybe a sales order, just open up my sales orders listing here, and we'll pull up an existing sales order that I have on hold. Some things that they've added that are truly big is, again, expanding the information that you see with the ordered quantities, the detail totals, line discounts, document discounts, and so forth. But even so, on the totals tab, adding the estimated margins to the screen, being able to see what your estimated margin percentage and your estimated margin amounts, and even adding that on the details side, where we scroll over and we could start to see estimated margin per line. These are all things that people have been asking me as a consultant for a long time, and now Acumatica has added that in 23R2. The last thing that I wanted to kind of show you guys as far as a UI change, and then we'll open it up for any kind of Q&A. Again, 23R2 just came out a week or so ago. I'm still scratching the surface, digging deeper into learning new things every single day that Acumatica has kind of put into the system here. But the last thing I wanted to do that really helped me out a lot was, typically when I look at a dashboard, sometimes I might pull up this dashboard, the dashboard might not even work at all. Or maybe I might have some errors on a widget and I don't even know what widget is actually broken. Well, now with 23R2, if I just go into the actual dashboard screen, I'm going to go to my dashboard profiles. They've added a new tab, and I'm going to just pull up my customer view dashboard. And they have now added a tab for the widgets. And this will list out all of the widgets that are on your dashboard, where they exist, what column, what row, and where the source of data it's pulling from. So now I can just look at this particular screen and see what GIs might be powering all of the different widgets. And if I have an issue with them, I could just go directly to that GI and resolve the issue with that inquiry, and ultimately with that widget. So this is a nice feature. Again, as we uncover more, I'd love to show you guys some more things here with Acumatica. But that's what I wanted to show you guys today. I appreciate you giving me the time to look that over. Turn it back over to Amy and Dennis if you want to share the PowerPoint, and we'll go from there. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris and Dennis. We do have some questions regarding, for Dennis, is when you were talking about the customer portal, Jean was asking, do you require a customer portal now, or does Acumatica provide that customer portal? Could you elaborate on that part?
Yeah, absolutely. So the last slide that I showed the Acumatica payments portal. And so that's, out of the box when you implement Acumatica payments with Fortis, you're provided with that portal for your customers to connect to and pay their invoices from. What I was talking to about the Acumatica portal is if you've implemented the Acumatica customer portal, part of the CRM solution, Acumatica payments now integrates with the Acumatica customer portal, so they can not only log in, see their orders, invoices, statements of that, but they can also pay their bills from inside the portal.
Awesome.
So if that didn't answer your question, write another note and we'll expand on it.
Okay. Can the sales territory be broken down by zip code? I think that's pretty.
That's something, yeah, that's something that I haven't really played with yet, but I'm definitely gonna look into that. So if it does, if I can do something like that, I'll definitely report back and probably create a blog post about that. But I don't know exactly. I know right now country and state and some other features, but I haven't dove deeply yet into the zip code thing.
And can you add the territories to opportunities?
Yes, those definitely can be added to the opportunities.
Okay. Is it possible to relate the original sales order to the case?
Yeah, so on the relation side of the case, you can always relate it to something, within that particular screen. So if I wanted to relate a derivative, I can add a sales order or even an AR invoice, anything that I want to attach as a relation to the case, that can definitely happen.
And someone asked what version you were demoing, Chris. I'm assuming it was the
That
latest.
was 23R2.
He came in late, so.
No worries. Yeah, everything that Dennis and I talked about today are all features of 23R2.
Any other questions for us? Feel free to put them in and we will answer them. Thank you for all the questions so far. That was great. Does the Fortis payment portal support parent-child? That's a great question.
That is a good question.
That is a good question.
I would
And-
want to know that too.
Wow. So I'll tell you what, if I think we can get your registration information and I can message you directly after I find that out, or I may create an example and do a short video and then have Amy post it out on the acu-connect site and distribute it, showing how that would work as well.
He said thanks.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
With Acumatica payments, are you committed to using Fortis as a processor, or can I continue to use the one I have now? I'm assuming you can continue to use the one you have now forever if you wanted to.
You can continue to use what you have now, but you're not going to be able to create the payment links. Those are directly to a Fortis powered portal. And you can still continue to use them as a credit card processor as well. If you have a really super rate, Fortis has given me some example rates that are pretty competitive as well. And I'll ask the payments team another question as well about whether or not the Acumatica customer portal would support payments through another processor. And I'm not sure if your processor provides ACH links or not. That's another big thing with Fortis, is that you can create the link to draft their account automatically or have them credit your account based on the payment link.
Now, I'm assuming, Acumatica just came out with this payments functionality. So obviously, a lot of Acumatica customers already have payment functionality in place. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And, so this is where, you look at whether or not it would really benefit you as a company. Okay, so this is where, if your customers are primarily, business to business, larger organizations, maybe you're doing, transactions through EDI, and they're not the kind of people to go out to a portal and click some buttons to pay you. They're just going to, wire you or draft you the money. Payments may not be the option for you. However, if you're dealing with a lot of smaller businesses or you're doing direct to consumer, that's where payment functionality is going to give you a lot of options.
I have another question. When allowing customers to make payments on a sales order via the payment portal, will the payment be integrated as a prepayment on the sales order?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions? Keep them coming. Before we wrap up, if you do have any questions, put them in now.
What's that parliamentary procedure? You're going to call the question so nobody else can say anything?
Well, I guess we don't have any more questions.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us for our tips and tricks webinar this month. And this is our committee, just giving a shout out to them who help with our events and webinar and social media to help promote these wonderful webinars that we have for you each and every month. So we're not going to dive into all this stuff. So we can wrap it up, Chris. All right. So thank you, everyone, again for joining us. This recording will be sent out to everyone in case you missed it or had to drop off early. So yeah, so stay tuned for that email. And thank you, Chris and Dennis, for joining us for our tips and tricks webinar. We truly appreciate it.
Thanks, Amy, for having us.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks
Have
for
a great
attending,
day.
everybody.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.